Hello, friends. Bud with ACA New England. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm pointing to my lovely ACA New England logo on the chest of my sweatshirt. This is episode 9 of the New England Camp Podcast. Before we go any further, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this episode, Chalmers Camp Insurance. They are who their name says they are. They are Chalmers, and they do camp insurance. They've been doing this for generations, and we can't be more grateful for their partnership and their support for all things New England camp and the camp industry. So if you have any questions around risk management, especially heading into the summer, reach out to Chalmers Camp Insurance. If you can't get connected with them, connect with me, and I'll connect you with them. Second, this episode is about ACA Hill Day. Michele Rocliffe just got back from Washington, D.C. Yep, that hill. And we talk with her for a little bit about what is Hill Day, who goes to Hill Day, what's discussed at Hill Day, what can people expect. And there is a small part where we divert into Scandal, the show, not like an actual scandal. Right before that, though, Another thing that our friends, our partners at ACA Inc. have been working on for the last few months, and you've probably seen it, but I want to remind you before you go away for the summer, Camp Counts. If you have not completed the Camp Count survey, or if your camp has not completed the Camp Count survey, go to acacamps.org and you can get the information there. Reach out to me if you get lost. I'll connect you with who you need to connect you with, bud at acanewengland.org. But the Camp Count survey is going to cover 3 things: your financial information, your facility information, and your staffing information. And if you're asking, Bud, what kind of staffing, facility, and financial information? Well, go to acacamps.org. They have a toolkit or a guide there, which is basically the survey. So you can go get the test, practice your answers, and that way you can sit down or assign somebody. This is a great opportunity for leadership development. Find that person on your staff who needs a good project. But seriously, this is important information. People ask for this information. And once you give us this information, we'll give you the link to the dashboard, and you can see right there in real time, live, all the information that's been gathered and the trends and how they develop. So acacamps.org. You can go over there, look for the Camp Count survey information or page, and that can guide you where you need to go. If you get lost, by all means, reach out to bud at acanewengland.org or membership at acacamps.org. Somebody will get you the Camp Count survey, so you can give us the information, we can give you the link, and then we can move on from there. So once again, Camp Counts, because it does, but that survey is going to be live for a while. You have time, but we'd like to get it in sooner than later so we can start looking at this information when you come back from summer. Hopefully we'll have some answers for you. But in the meantime, Camp Counts, acacamps.org, Bud at ACA New England. Those are all places that will get you to the starting point. Now, on with the show. Hello, friends, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever part of the show this is actually going to appear in. We hope you are happy, healthy, making friends and memories wherever you are. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share the New England Camp Podcast. We are circling back to an old familiar friend and face, our boss, our leader, Michele Rocliffe, CEO of ACA New England. Michele, welcome back from ACA Hill Days.
Thank you. I think last time I was on was last fall in beautiful weather following some fall tours. And here we are in the spring with some beautiful weather.
Michele doesn't do podcasts unless it's nice out. No, before we get into the nitty gritty, just real quick, kind of cliche, but got to do it. Icebreaker type question. We're getting into the camp season. What is a camp dessert that you miss?
Oh, this is going to sound bad. I am a chocoholic. And I loved the basic, probably cheap chocolate pudding in the big number 10 can, poured over the little graham cracker crust in the aluminum tin with a squirt of whipped cream.
Yeah, classic. Everybody knows what you're talking about. The snack pack with the grahams and a little bit of the whipped topping. It's the best. I'm a cookies and cream pie. Cookies and cream pie. I don't know who made it. I don't know where we got it. I don't know, but that was the one where I would legitimately hustle the dining hall for people's leftovers and extra pieces of cookies and cream pie. And hustling the halls is just what you were doing recently, but the halls of Congress. Welcome back from Hill Day, and that's what we're here to talk about in this portion of the show. So tell us real quick, what is ACA Hill Days?
ACA Hill Day is our chance.
My apologies.
Days is our chance as camping professionals to head to DC. We work with a really wonderful partner called Bose Public Affairs who helps us set dozens and dozens of appointments to speak with senators and congressmen and women to share like the great impacting of camping on our youth of today, and also talk about any challenges and if we need to ask their support on any of those issues. That is what we do. I mean, the great thing is camp's an easy thing to talk about and a positive thing to talk about. So where I assume other industries might be going for these meetings, like it's great, it's easy, it's light to talk about camp.
Very on brand for our industry. We're friendly and we're open. We're always willing to talk and engage. And you were saying that just before, how one of the staffers was kind of hovering early on. I'm like, well, I'm sure y'all were probably like, yes, the camp people are here. Let's go have a friendly conversation. So who do you see? You said now we meet with these congressmen, these senators, and this is what I love about things like Hill Day. If you're just an armchair person when it comes to politics, or you just exist in society, it's not the same 12 people you see on all the news channels. There are 435 members of one, 100 members of the other, and they're all humans, and these are who you go to engage with. But who comes with you? Who goes to ACA Hill Days to do these kind of meetings?
So really anybody can go. The ACA Inc., our national office, puts out the information to the greater camping population. And for us in New England, we really try to also put that information out. The more people that we have ascend the hill, the greater impact that we have. There are so many appointments to be had, to your point. It's not the 12 people you see on TV. So the more people that come, the more appointments that we can book. I know on last Wednesday, I had 7 back-to-back appointments jumping back and forth between the Senate and the House side of Capitol Hill. One thing is, we typically don't meet with the senator or the congressperson. We are meeting with the aides and the advisors, which really range anywhere in age from like young 20s on up. And I would say, Bud, that out of those 7 appointments that I had, 6 out of the 7 of the A's or the advisor had a camp experience. So we always go in like, what do you know about camp? And they light up. Like we all know, they're super animated. They want to talk about it. And without solicitation, I'd say at least half of them said going to camp or working at camp was the best possible internship that they had for their careers right now. I was like, I wanted to like videotape every time or audio tape every time it was said.
We will reshare it all the way until next year. And next year we're sending you with a couple of little mics and or maybe I'll just come with you, or we'll have Ayla go with you. All right. So these are the folks that are going. These are the folks that you're engaging with. What do you all talk about? I mean, are there topics of discussion specific to this year that we know we want to get out there and share? And then are there any others that are kind of annual, reminders that we just want to make sure this is on your radar? So what are y'all talking about when you're up there?
Yeah, this is such a great professional development opportunity for anybody. And I only started doing this a few years ago and really still get very jazzed about doing this because it's a little bit outside of my daily work. And ACA does a really great job in all the preparations. As I said, they work with Bose Public Affairs, who really makes the logistics quite easy. And then ACA does virtual trainings to one, just talk about like what it means to be in DC, what to wear, flat shoes, you're going to be walking, you're going to want to be comfortable, where you can get a lunch if you only have 20 minutes, as well as here are the issues that we want to discuss this year. So there were 2 to 3 online trainings, and then there is an in-person training the day before this happened. So last week it was on Tuesday, started right up at lunch. We talked about the 3 to 4 issues, which I can get to in a minute, that we want to discuss. And then we do role playing. So like any kind of staff training at a camp, there is role playing involved so that everybody is comfortable, everybody feels confident. The resources that are given to us, the packet, the leave behinds, the stickers, everything is very professional. very straightforward, and it really prepares you to do this. So you don't need to have any kind of advocacy experience. Doesn't matter if you're young, old, new to the field, old to the field, all the voices are important, and to be heard. They want to hear from all of us. So this year we had a couple, we had basically three things that we wanted to bring up to our leaders. One, and if you're an ACA member, you've probably been receiving a lot of emails, is to invite folks in the Senate or the Congress to join the Camp Caucus. There's been a lot of information out. Scott Brody is one of the co-chairs. He is a New Englander, 2 camps in New England, and is actually living part-time in DC to do this work. So there is an official Camp Caucus, and what that means is we have the voice of leaders, bipartisan, both in the Senate and in the House. So when challenges come around, they have an understanding of what we do.
That was fun. Thanks for rolling with it. If you're wondering what was that pause, there were some technical difficulties on this side. And if you're one of those people who like to sit at the bar or anywhere and play that picture game of what's different between this and that, my earphones are no longer wired. Hit me up in the DMs if you want to know the secrets behind that. But we were talking about Michele and her movements around Congress. I'm glad you also mentioned Scott Brody. Shout out Scott Brody and all the work that he puts in to get this caucus going. My background is in political science, and I ended up in camping. There's a shocker. But I got to tell you, when he said we're getting a caucus started, I thought, okay, you're going to move mountains after that. So kudos to him. Subscribe to the newsletter. When you were walking around, one of the bits they told you was flat shoes. So it's not like Kerry Washington and Scandal with the high heels echoing through the halls and the domes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that, because literally I'm on my third go around of Scandal and just watched it again last night and was actually staring at her heels. No, my very first year, I did have heels on. Because we didn't have the training like we do now, and ballet flats were, acceptable. When you look around at all the young people working, like now there's like good looking sneakers and, like fancy, I don't know, like lace up shoes. So yes, it is all about the comfort because you're jockeying kind of from one side to the other. But Tammy Fortune, who is Camp Wacklow camp owner in New Hampshire, who is also on the Government Affairs Committee and happens to be on the ACA New England board, and I were at an appointment that went a little bit over because the staffer had so much to talk about, shocker, that we were talking, and we needed to get, I think we're going back to visit with one of the senator's aides, and we said, oh my gosh, we have 11 minutes, and they called for an intern who took us down to the underground train, to go over. So that's happened twice. And for the group of ACA folks, we talk about this, like that's always a bonus to see the inner depths of underneath and across. I don't even know exactly how it goes, but my Olivia Pope radar went off thinking like, are these the underground tunnels where she meets with Melly? But so it is a busy day. And at one point I looked at Tammy and I was like, is it 4:00? Is this our last one? Because you go one after the other, but like just so exciting.
So I doubt that you were talking about the same things that Liv and Millie were talking about in Congress, but what were the topics du jour this year? What were the topics that you guys were talking about this year? And are there anything that you do, you're like, every year that's always on the list. So what are y'all talking about up on when you ascend the hill? I love that.
Yeah. Well, this year we talked about J-1 visas. And the importance of our cultural exchange program, the importance of international staff bringing their culture to camp, as well as providing the labor that many camps need. And basically, in our discussion, we were bringing up the challenge of limited appointments at the embassies. And while camps knew and were reminded and encouraged to start early, there's a backlog. And this backlog is affecting some camps. Some folks aren't hearing that they're going to get staff in the middle of July, which to some point defeats that purpose. You miss staff training. And there was one camp who was in the training on Tuesday who knew a fellow camp that wasn't going to be able to open because they just weren't going to have the staff available. So J1 visa support in terms of getting those appointments going, kind of moving it along quicker, decisions being made faster. That was one ask, and everybody seemed really in support of that. Everybody who we talk to really understands that our international staff aren't taking the place of domestic staff. We all know right now it's hard. Yeah, it's part of the program, and it's a little bit difficult finding our own American kids who are going to work at camp.
Sure.
The other thing that we point out is these international staff that go back are really taking home a piece of America and being able to talk about our cultures and the things that we celebrate. So it's really reciprocal in terms of that cultural support. The other topic that we brought up was CPIA, the Child Protection Improvement Act. So this was passed in 2017 in the first Trump administration. So it was passed, but it has never been implemented. And what this is efficient and affordable FBI background checks for our camps. Biometric, comprehensive data. We all know you might live in one state, you go to college in another state, you work in a camp in a third state. So this would really bring a comprehensive safety measure in terms of background checking to our staff. And while in New England, many of our states are heavy regulated and require background checks, this doesn't happen everywhere across the country. So this would really be able to provide an additional great safety check for us all. So it's been passed. Let's get it implemented. It's not even a financial barrier. It's whatever the steps, and that is now beyond me, that need to be taken to get that one passed for us all.
You mentioned the J1 piece is an annual thing, and a light bulb went off where when these youngsters, let me take off my hat for those watching. I'm allowed to say that. When these young staff go back to their homes, we're living in a world where a lot of people in those places might only know America through what they see on cable news or social media. And we all know what kind of information gets the most attraction. It's not always positive. So the more folks we can send back out into the world with not just an American cultural message, but a camp message, when it's been put through the camp cycle of curiosity, empathy, respect, and coexistence, and then send that back out. I think there's no more valuable use of time up on the Hill than to remind them of the impact that this program has, not just for our camps, which we see directly, but then internationally and globally, the ripple effects go from there. So international relations, it's heady stuff. And I want to remind people listening that it is, they say well, what is this all about? It's about showing up. It's about reminding, it's about advocating, and you can do this on the local level too. Every one of your states has a government that is licensing. And I will say this, not to put one above the other, but if you're looking to have maybe a more immediate impact or get more in the nitty gritty, look to your state associations, look to your state capitals. A lot of our states will do Flag Day or Hill Day, or they'll go to the Capitol. So I really encourage you to reach out to your state associations if you're looking to get involved on the local level. If you're curious about Hill Day next year, call us, email us. If you're worried about the financial commitment it takes to get down there, we have scholarships available to help with that. We can't guarantee everything to everybody, but we got something for everybody pretty much.
Yeah.
So
it's so important. Yeah, it's so important that we have representation from every state. Some folks already know their local leaders, so it makes for an easier conversation. I mean, the third thing we were really proactive about was inviting folks to camp during the summer. Inviting those leaders in your area to come out in the summer and see the magic that happens in what we do. I mean, that is really the ultimate, when you get somebody who's like, yeah, I can stop by and I can see what's going on. As I mentioned earlier, when the aides and the advisors are so pumped up, they're the ones that are then going to encourage their boss, to go out and see Camp XYZ in New Hampshire and that sort of thing. So that response was really positive, and we encourage camps to always do that. Make that relationship, because when something within your licensing comes out that doesn't feel quite right, having an in with a leader in your area is going to be able to help alleviate whatever that challenge might be.
And if you're wondering, where do I start? There's a couple of places. A, like we said, if you know your state association, reach out to them. Reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to have this kind of conversation, whether it's a repeat of what you just listened to, if you have questions that you want reactions to, if you're genuinely just kind of going, I've never done this before, we'd love to help you get started, get connected, and then hopefully join us for future Hill Days.
Yeah, but I wanted to point out one thing because we haven't really seen each other in person. You know what I'd love for next year? An epic
Let's hear
group
it.
on the Hill, like an ACA New England group of our epic volunteers, meeting ahead of time, going there together. We're able to help support financially. That's why we have an annual campaign to give those dollars back to camping professionals. But what a great professional development opportunity for the individual as well as for the camps in New England. So I'm saying
Stay
that out
tuned.
loud. Yeah, I'm saying it so that everybody could hear it. But let's get an epic group going. It's so important.
Listen, the decisions that are made now are going to be the ones that are affecting you 5, 10 years from now. So I love that idea. All right, Michele, welcome back. I swear we'll see each other soon. That's an inside joke for anybody in the office. Boudreaux's been having a little bit of car trouble for the last couple of weeks, but as always, keep being there for one another. We're always here for you. And if you need anything at all, camp at acanewengland.org. Go to our website, acanewengland.org. Any of our first names, Bud, Michele, Carrie, Ayla, Haley, Jillian, at acanewengland.org. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, Michele.
Thanks, Bud.